Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. Most or all of the videos that I've shown on this channel so far in this particular playlist have been dungeons that I've done before. I've run through these dungeons 100 times. I know exactly where to go. I know where to pick up aggro. I know how much to pull. I know all of those things. But what if you have to go through a dungeon for the first time? That's what we're going over today. So this is my highest level tank right now. It is a gunbreaker. I just hit, well, not just, but it's only 81, so it's my highest level tank. And we are going to go through the Tower of Zot. As you can see, it's the only dungeon I have available to me, and I have only been through this dungeon one time. I went through it on my ninja when I was going through MSQ. So I've never done this dungeon before, and we're going to go through it together for the very first time. And we're going to see if everything that I've been preaching over the last videos can translate into performing in some place that you've never done it before, right? You should be able to take all the things that I'm teaching and apply them, and this is how we're going to show that. And here we are in the Tower of Zot. We are going to eat some food, turn on tank stance, and let's go. Everybody with me? Yep. Alright, so we'll dive into the first pull. We're going to AoE. It's only 3 guys. That looks doable. I'll use arm's length here while we move on to the next pull. Armored Fiend. I don't know how hard this guy hits. Looks pretty hard. But you know what? I got all my cooldowns, so I'm going to keep on going. Let's see how this goes. Looks like this is it. Alright. We'll go ahead and use Rampart and continue using our single target ability, or I'm sorry, our AoE abilities here. And then just going through our normal rotation. So as you can see, I was feeling pretty confident there because I have all of my cooldowns. It's only 4 guys. Should be fine. Trying to stay inside the healer's bubble as much as I can. Makes his life a little bit easier. My health is getting extremely low. There it goes. Is that the whole first pull? Is that it? So the first pull's only 4 guys? Guess so. So that was easy enough. Looks like the next one is 3 guys, so we will dive in, AoE attack, and move on to the next pack. Looks like it's another Armored Fiend, so I'll just use a ranged attack on him, and we'll tank this just right here. And I am going to use 2 cooldowns, Reprisal, and one of my class abilities. And we'll just fight here. Actually, I have no choice but to fight here. Yeah, see, that's a little bit of a problem for right now. So, getting out of the AoE attacks, no need to take unnecessary damage, and just continuing to use our own AoE attacks to maintain aggro. That's it. We are at the first boss. I have no idea what to expect here. We're here in 4 minutes, so I think we're making okay pace. I don't remember what this person did at all, but we'll follow the normal advice, which is to pull, turn around, and get him out of there. That's a tank buster. I know that. I'm going to use Rampart now. Looks like we have a little dodging to do here. Good to know. Forgot to put my dot on. No big deal. Lots of dodging. A lot of dodging in this fight. Another tank buster. We will use one of our defensive abilities to absorb as much of that as possible. Not quite sure what to do here. Okay. We did alright. The only decision that I made was to kind of follow what my teammates were doing, and you know the AOE dodging forced me in a certain direction anyway, so all good. Another tank buster. I will use Rampart in response, using my distance closing or my gap closing ability to get back on top of the boss and continuing to DPS. It looks like whichever one's flashing. Nope, that's flashing red too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright, so I made a mistake there. That's okay. I used my sprint to try to get into that area. I was not successful, and that does go down as a mistake. But you don't have to be perfect. And the first boss is dead. You can leave now. Give me my loot, thank you. There we go. Getting new gear. Okay, just keep in mind that we don't have Rampart up for another 20 seconds. We will dive in and use our AoE attack. Doesn't look like I can go anywhere, so we don't even have to worry about any of that. Just AoE it down. The way has been made clear. I will pull these weird umbral things. We'll use a ranged attack, provoke. And I'm not going to use arm's length because it looks like I'm only going right here. But I will go ahead and dive in. AoE attack, Rampart. Just going to use one cooldown here. These don't look like big heavy hitting mobs except for this dude here, which Rampart will take care of. So I think our normal rotation will be just fine. Keeping an eye on the enemy list to make sure I haven't lost aggro on anything, and you shouldn't. If you're AoEing all the time, you should always have aggro. 3 dudes are here, so I will use my AoE attack to pick up aggro on all of them. I'll use arm's length because I think we're probably going to be getting close to the last boss now, or the second boss, excuse me. Using our AoE attack, and I will use the remainder of my cooldowns here. I do have quite a few dudes on me right now. And I will make sure I stay in the healer's bubble. And then by the time my current defensive abilities wear off, I have Rampart back up. So I'm going to go ahead and use Rampart too. And the reason I'm going to do that is because these dudes are not dead yet. I am pretty low on health right now. Actually keeping my finger right over my oh shit button just in case. It's kind of covering the break right now. Yep. Okay, everyone's here. We'll dive in and begin our single target rotation. Tank Buster, I'll use Reprisal. That won't help me. Actually, I don't even have anything that I can use. Reprisal reduces their damage by 10%, but since it was a casted ability, I don't believe Reprisals actually help me there, but I used it anyway. The skill that you're trying to demonstrate there, or what you're trying to use, is reacting to what you're seeing. So once you see an AoE, or I'm sorry, a Tank Buster, using something in response is what you're trying to get out of it. Okay, we see a gap over here in these balls, so I'm going to assume the gap is safe. Looks like everyone's going there too, and they're going all the way up against the wall. Ooh, that's pretty tight. Okay, so that was the right call. So now we know what that mechanic does. We'll keep it in mind. Nothing else special happening on this boss so far. Of course, right when I... Oh. Which one's real? This one's not dancing. This one has to be real. Oh, I was right. All the way up against the wall. Okay. Get out of there. Tank Buster, Rampart. Got it. Not sure how to avoid that. I'm sure there is a way. Okay, second boss is dead. Nothing to it. Diving in, using an AoE attack, and then arm's length. I will use my ranged attack on that guy. I'm greedy, so I'm going to go for that. And then we will pull all the way to the end here because we do have all of our cooldowns. I'll use a ranged attack and provoke to do that, and now we blow everything. All defensive abilities. Keeping an eye on my health right now, because this is a lot of stuff. I always like to watch my health just after we do a big pull, just to make sure we stabilize. Once we stabilize, everything is usually okay, and then you can shift your attention to the dudes, making sure that you have aggro on everything. Sometimes getting situated can be a little bit tricky. Okay, that was cool. More treasure! Ooh, fending, that's me. Need on that. Okay, ranged attack, tab, provoke. Moving on to the next pull. I have 2 abilities, 3 including this one here. So we should be okay. I don't have arm's length, never mind. This might be a tough pull. There's lots of big dudes here. I bet they hit pretty hard. Let's see how this goes. Ranged attack, AoE, defensive abilities. AoE attacks, regen. Okay. So we're going to try to do as much dodging of the AoE attacks as possible here. That's what I'm really looking at, is the floor. See all those AoE attacks? Lots of lines there. Okay, we seem to be okay. I have full aggro, supering. My health got to about 10k because these dudes are hitting pretty hard. We supered. We're continuing to use our defensive abilities right as they come back off of cooldown. It looks like this fight's over. I think we got it. And we're at the last boss. Well, that last one got a little bit scary, but, you know, we kept an eye on our health. We maintained aggro. We did as much dodging as we could. We used our oh shit ability. So we're going to make sure that everybody is not watching a cutscene. Nobody is. And I will dive in, turn the boss around, and start my single target rotation. Again, I have no idea what this boss does, so we will figure it out together. Okay, so her sisters are coming back to help her. We'll get away. Okay, looks like everyone's focusing on the fat one here, so I'll do the same. Making sure I have aggro on the ads. We have a tank buster. I will use my rampart in response. Hope I was in time. I don't even know if I was right now. All I'm checking is my rotation and the enemy list. I'm going to throw a couple AoEs in here just to make sure I'm not losing aggro on Sandaruga. Okay, that was a lot of dodging. We have another tank buster. I'll use another defensive ability in response. As you can see, it only did 1,000 damage to me, pretty low. And I think it's just a recycle bin at this point. A lot of dodging, more dodging, more dodging, more dodging. Got hit by one, that's fine. Stack mechanic, we'll follow him, go back onto the boss. Don't need to use any cooldowns for that. I'm just going to make sure I have aggro, and I'll attack what everyone else is attacking. Looks like another tank buster. I'll use rampart. lined them up nicely for the limit break, so that worked out. I don't think this... Yeah, this is it. So that is gonna do it for the Tower of Zot. That was a pretty... I mean, it was an easy dungeon. Nothing too complicated there. We just pulled when we, pulled wall to wall pretty much every time. Used our defensive cooldowns when we could. We only had to use super once, and that was at the very last pull. And that's it. Now I'm 82. Alright, well, hopefully you found the video helpful and useful. As you can see, you can still go through this content in these dungeons as a tank, even if you've never done them before. Just apply those principles to any dungeon that you're running, and you can tank them, and you can have fun doing it. Alright, that is going to do it for this one. We will see you in the next one. Bye!